There are so many different blocks in Pokopia and it can be quite overwhelming. If you're currently struggling to decide which one to use as your path, then don't worry, as I have some different design ideas for you today to hopefully inspire your future path. Some of these paths I am actually using in my world, so you'll be able to see how they fit in with my builds, and some of them I've just done for fun because it's always good to experiment in the game. Don't forget to like and also subscribe for more Pokopia content, but let's get into this. So the absolutely kind of simplest path you could do is just place blocks and just have a few down together. But if you just want to elevate it a little bit, you can add some of the borders. These do come in different styles. This one here is the concrete one, and you can also use the wooden one, and there is another one I believe as well, but you can kind of jazz your paths up a little bit. The only downside with these is that you can't place anything on the block next to it. So if you've placed the border here, for example, you'll have like a bit of an odd gap, and then you'll only be able to place something in this middle tile here because this path is 3 wide. There are also corner pieces and little individual pieces, which does make it a bit easier for kind of planning out how exactly you're going to have your borders. But I think it's a wonderful little trick, and it just kind of gives the path just something a little bit extra. As you can see here, I haven't quite finished off all my borders, but it's really nice, easy to do, and all of the different colors work really well with all of the different paths that are in the game, so you can find one to match your desired style. Another alternative to using the borders is using a block and then adding in some stepping stones, or alternatively you could also add in the wooden path, but here I've gone for a soil base, added in, filled it up with stepping stones, and then on the edge of it I've added the border here. So this is where you're going to have the gap. It's not actually placed in to kind of narrow down the path, it's actually on the edges, so this will make it a little bit kind of wider, and you'll have to bear that in mind when you are decorating the edges of your path, as you will have that gap. But I quite like the way that this looks, in the way that it's a little bit more natural, but it also feels like there's something a little bit more here, like there's some nice little details. The stepping stones are absolutely one of my favorite items, and I was so happy when I got this recipe. So these are great for kind of adding additions to your paths, or even smaller paths as well. One of the block sets that I fell in love with from the get-go was this age stone set, so I really wanted to incorporate something with this into this video, and this is kind of what I've come up with. So all of the blocks in the middle, you can see the tile and the diamond one are from that set, but the exterior block on the kind of acts as a border here is actually a concrete wall. I wanted something to provide the contrast, which was kind of nice and clean, with the kind of fancy stuff that is going on in the center here with the tiles, and I've just kind of done them in like a bit of a diamond pattern. I've also kind of tried to tie in the blocks that I've used in the path with this kind of little setup here. I'm not sure I really love this kind of design, but I just thought it would be nice to kind of dress it up a bit and give you an idea as to what other things I would kind of incorporate if I was going to use this as a style. I think I would probably kind of change out the color of this. This is the iron enclosure, but I would definitely kind of add in a nicer little kind of fence around the edges here, and also get some foliage. It would be great for like a structured path if you've got a town or a city going on and you want to use these kind of colors with your build. I think that it would be really pretty and kind of a nice kind of muted blue kind of tone. But either way, I like the way that I've done this, and it just goes to show that you can use borders with blocks, and you can also play around with the placement of your kind of desired blocks and kind of play around with how you kind of place them, instead of just placing them all in neat lines or all like in one big block. The next path is maybe a little bit cheating because it pretty much is a road path and the game gives you everything you need for it. I love that they've added this in because it is quite a versatile path. You can use it in cities, but I just wanted to show you how I would actually lay it out if I was to use it. I would go in with my normal path where you want to have crossings. Obviously you can use the vertical white marking pieces or the horizontal ones, and then I would border it with kind of something like this, which I think is the stone flooring, and then I would go in with maybe like a tile or something that looks like a sidewalk. So that's why I've used this one here. I think it is a good kind of option if you want to build like maybe more of a city style build. And I've kind of given some things that I would kind of chuck around, like have a good fencing, the sewer cover, like maybe a bench, some rubbish. I know it's a city, so it's acceptable to chuck rubbish down. Just things like that are kind of what I would go with if I was going to do this style. But I'm sure that there are lots of different things you could think of to add with this as well. But this is just kind of my take on it. The fire hydrants, obviously, as well. If you know, you know. So the paths we've gone for so far have been quite structured, but I have a couple kind of paths that I want to look at because I feel like they maybe be suitable for something if you're looking for a more natural style. The first one is this mossy ruin rock one, which uses a couple different blocks. I'll put up on screen exactly which blocks I have used here, but I've also used some techniques here where I've kind of added in some puddles. So I've used the water gun here. These might be a little bit annoying when you kind of walk through them, but I kind of like the way that it looks and it gives it some depth. Unlike Minecraft, you can't really use the stairs here to kind of break it up, and there's not those half tiles, so I thought that adding these might give it some like lower height, but also mixing that up with the moss. So these are using the leafage skill, so I thought that would be a nice kind of contrast there. And I've also added in the dry wildflowers just to make it feel a little bit more ruinous, and I think they go quite nicely with the moss. And then on the outside you can see that I've got some bushes and also a little bit of fencing, some trees, some of the rocks, which I've used the magnet rise skill to kind of transfer them over here. But for the path itself, all I've done is kind of really place down rocks and blocks that kind of fit nicely together. So we have the gravel, a couple different rock colors, and just kind of place them in a more circular pattern. So you don't really have to pay attention to the square edges and getting everything kind of neatly together. Just kind of place down where feels right, and then you can kind of snake it around corners. You can add in gaps. You can kind of adjust things more freely. You don't have to worry about the straight edges, which is perhaps a good way to go if you're wanting more of a free flowing area. So that kind of style with the mix match pattern is what I have carried over into my main natural path in my withered wasteland. As you can see for this one, I've gone for the gravel, I've gone for the ordinary soil, and then I've just mixed in the grass, and then amongst that we have the wooden planks, also the stepping stones and the kind of grass, just to kind of make it feel overgrown. And this is where it kind of leads into my whole kind of cavern area with my storage. There are a few flowers around, and this is how I've kind of done it as a staircase as well. I wanted it to feel really kind of nice and natural and overgrown. I feel like placing the random blocks means that you can kind of have a bit more freedom with the shape and the style, and if you want a narrower section, it's quite easy to kind of accommodate like that, as I have done here with this greenhouse area, as it is a lot smaller, but you still get the details from the blocks up here. You can do this with lots of different ones to kind of adjust your kind of area and what kind of style or color you're looking for, but I think that this one works really well for those overgrown natural areas that you may want to decorate with. And then finally, I just want to show you what kind of happens if you kind of mix the borders with the natural. So I really wasn't sure what to do with my pathway for this yellow house up here. So I decided to kind of use this yellow tile. And then I was like, I don't know if I really want it all to be kind of really structured. So in the middle of the area, I've added in a few different blocks. And then I've gone in with the wooden path, some overgrownness as well. I'm just going to call it overgrownness. It's leaves. I know it is. But I thought that this added like a nice contrast with the kind of brick border, but it kind of gives the idea that it's been worn away maybe a little bit, like there once was a full path here, but over time Pokemon and Dittos running around has kind of worn it away a little bit. But you still get the nice kind of feel as with the rest of the house, I think, and the rest of the whole area is we've got a bit of a pond here, and you still got that pop of yellow, which I think is really important. So if you decided that you maybe want to mix all of the different elements that I've shown you, this is the kind of thing you could do. Obviously, you could tailor it to whatever blocks you are after. So there we have it. There is some inspiration for your paths in Pokopia. Let me know if you want any other design ideas, anything else that you're kind of scratching your head with in the comments. And also let me know what you have done with your paths so you can help inspire others too. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.